What's going on, everybody? Welcome into today's video. Now, for today's video, we are going to be touching on the 3 steps to building the courage to speak to women. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alexis, and I help men build their dream selves up so they can attract the women of their dreams. Now, in order to do so, I am a woman that likes women, right? So I have a very unique point of view and understanding when it comes to being a woman and also going after a woman romantically. Now, by the end of this video, you'll be able to break through these 3 massive roadblocks and get out of your head and into building up courage to speak to women, right? Having conversations with women. Now, in order to break through these roadblocks, we are going to be touching on the 3 steps you need to be aware of. Now, if you find this video super cool and you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on another video. Now, on to the first step. Now, the first step is just going to be going outside, right? Like, this is pretty self-explanatory. Just get out of the house. You're not going to be able to speak to women if you stay inside all day, right? There might be your mom, there might be your sister, right? Like, no, we need to speak to people that aren't a part of our immediate family. We need to have conversations with people that we didn't grow up with, right? And in order to do that, if you don't know where to go, right? Start with familiar places. You can do it at the school. So say you go to a high school or a college, right? The library. There's a lot of different places. There's the courtyards. There's tutoring sessions and groups. Maybe if you don't even really need to be tutored, but say tutor's a girl, right? And you're not trying to be creepy. You're not trying to be weird. You're not trying to hit on the girl. I don't want you guys to do that right now. I just want you to get used to talking to women, speaking with women. So putting yourself in positions to speak to them, right? Have conversations with them. Get used to even just speaking to women as a gender is going to alleviate some of the pressure or some of the anxiety when you eventually do go to speaking to women in a romantic sense or trying to pick up girls or flirt with girls, right? We need to get over the first roadblock, which is going to be speaking, like starting a conversation with women. So again, go to get tutoring done, go to the library, go to the courtyard, go to start a club or go and join a club, right? You're meeting on a regular basis. You guys are interacting consistently, right? Like, clubs are probably going to be your best friend. And if you aren't in school, you can still join clubs, right? This is going to sound kind of old, right? Whatever. But if you make a Facebook account, or if you already have one, and you go and search for a group, you can search super locally. So if you live in Colorado, you could search up for, if you are into running, you can be like, running groups in Denver, Colorado. And it could pull up, and some groups might meet up once a week, some groups might meet up a couple times a week or every day, just depending on how they structure the group. But you can join those groups too if you're not in school. There are other groups to join. So there really is no excuse if you really want to get over this. Again, these are probably like extreme examples, right? If you are in school, if there are people in your class that are girls, right? Maybe you can ask like, hey, hey, like, I really didn't understand today's seminar or class. Is it cool if I just like take a look at your notes, or is it cool if I just ask you a couple questions, right? It could be super easy stuff like that. I'm not saying you have to have 3-hour long deep questions. Just get outside, start speaking to women, start approaching women, right? Not in a weird way, but having conversations with them. Now, step number 2 is going to be reframe rejection. So you're starting to walk up and speak to women, right? I want you guys to reframe how you view rejection in a sense to where rejection isn't a bad thing entirely. So rejection is always going to hurt, right? Someone is rejecting you as a person, so that does hurt, right? Because you should love yourself. You should be proud of yourself. So when someone rejects that, it hurts a little bit, right? You're becoming vulnerable because you're putting yourself out there for them to determine whether or not they want to speak to you or not. So I can see how it has a bad connotation to it. But I want you to reframe how you look on it. I want you to speed up, I guess, the time between you being rejected, you feeling bad about it, and then you getting back to normal and figuring out what happened or what you can do differently right? The refresh period, right? I do believe that you should feel your feelings, right? I don't think you should dwell on your feelings. So if someone rejects you and you're upset for the next 20 minutes, okay, cool. Like, feel that. But after that, maybe think about it, like, what happened, right? What led to me being rejected? Was it certain body language, right? Were they exuding that they didn't even want to speak to anybody, right? Did they have both headphones in? Were they studying? Were they actively working on something where it seemed like they were like super locked in, right? Or was their body language super closed off? There's a bunch of things that could have influenced that, or maybe you just approached them in a way that they maybe felt unsafe, or maybe you had trouble starting the conversation, right? And with every single time that you're rejected, you're able to use this to your advantage because you can learn from each time it happens. So we want to use these quote unquote bad situations to further develop and further excel, right? If something bad happens and continues to happen and you don't get something from it at all, if you don't change at all, you're just dumb. Like, that's stupid, right? Like, if you were to, what's a good example? If you were to pick up a basketball, right? And every time you picked up a basketball, you just um you just walked with it, right? If in the game of basketball, you're supposed to dribble the ball. But if you just kept walking and traveling the whole time, right? Continuously, and not learning to dribble the ball, that's stupid, right? So we want to be smart with how we don't want to get rejected just to get rejected. We want to learn from it. We want to do it so it doesn't happen as often, right? Or we want to do it so we're able to minimize the amount of time that we feel bad about being rejected, right? If I get rejected, I feel bad for maybe 2 minutes and then I move on, right? Because maybe they just weren't for me. Maybe something happened. Maybe I was having a bad day. Maybe they were having a bad day. A lot of stuff is out of your control. A lot of stuff is in your control, but I'm not going to dwell over that, right? So the discrepancy of, or the time spent dwelling on it, we want to minimize. And that's how we're reframing the rejection, right? We want to focus on the outcome instead. We want to focus on what we're able to do with the information we just gathered. So by doing this, you want to expose yourself to rejection, right? We want to expose ourselves to that period in time in which we're able to learn and we're continuing to learn, right? So, and this doesn't even have to be in a sense of being rejected in a romantic sense, right? This can be in a friendship way, this can be just in a conversation, maybe in a business way, right? If you were to go for an interview, right? And you get rejected for the job, maybe you can go through the interview and be like, hey, like, what happened here? Like, why is it that this and this happened, right? Now, this is kind of like a little bit of a scenario outside of the main topic of starting conversations with women, but maybe your interviewer was a woman, right? So we want to get used to being rejected. We want to get used to learning from it. We want to be able to, I mean, in a sense, not be rejected as often, right? So you're going to be able to refine and refine and refine, and eventually you'll be able to go through conversations. You'll be able to approach people. You'll be able to handle the rejection in general a little bit better. So that's step number 2. And the last step is going to be confidence comes with proof of concept. So this kind of ties into the last one as well. But if you lack confidence, it comes from the unknown, right? I'm not confident in working on cars. I've never worked on cars. I've researched a little bit. I've never actively, besides like an oil change, right? I have not done anything to cars. So I would be not confident. I'm not confident in changing the airbags. I'm not confident in changing the engine, right? Like, I've never done it before. I've never learned it before. I've never researched it before. So I would be I would not be confident in that thing. So if I started to work on cars, if I started to learn about cars, if I started to actually physically take them apart and put them back together, I will slowly build confidence in knowing how to do that. Or take a job, for instance, right? Your first job, if you look back and think back to your first job and you didn't know anything about that job, the first week probably sucked. You didn't know how to do anything. You messed up everything, right? And slowly, as time went on, when you're there for like a year or even 6 months, right? You're doing the same thing, repetition over and over again, and coming across these different situations, right? That you know the answers to now, and you're confident in your job. If you worked at a sub place like a Jersey Mike's or whatever, right? And you didn't know how to make any of the sandwiches, you did stuff out of order, right? Or if you didn't even know how to operate the register, the POS system, by 6 months you're able to actively do all that stuff because you do it every day. So when it comes to, again, speaking with women, that's why go outside, get used to being rejected, because once you start speaking to women on a regular basis, you're going to build confidence in having conversations. You're going to find how you like to communicate. You're going to find how to start conversations, how to keep them going, right? How to end them, right? Because that's also kind of hard. So we want to get rid of the unknown. We want to actively get rid of it, right? We want to speak to women. You want to build up confidence in speaking to women. So have conversations with them, approach them, right? And that's the only way we're going to build up confidence. Now, if you were playing a video game, right? Let's say we were playing, I don't play much games. I play a lot of casual games. But let's say I was playing Baldur's Gate, because this is the first thing that comes to my mind. As you level up, as you gain experience in the game, right, through whatever quests and blah, 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 and completing and killing things, you're getting experience points, and you're able to buy or purchase or level up certain characteristics for your character, right? So there's strength, usually, and stamina, and blah, 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 and like charisma, right? You can't expect in the very beginning of the game, when you have no experience at all, for you to be good at having charisma, aura, or whatever you want to call it, being confident in yourself, or confident in having conversations, confident in just speaking to women in general, right? When you have zero experience, it is absolutely bonkers to expect that you're able to have these crazy cool conversations, or these conversations that are have a start, a good middle chunk, and an ending, right? Like, you have to go through it in order to gain that experience, in order to level up. So I really just want to drive that point home of just get out there, start conversations. You don't have to be good, and eventually I'll make a video later on some tips and tricks and points to help you during the conversation, right? But even I wanted this video to get the main idea of why you should just start having conversations with women. It's gonna change your guys' life, honestly. We don't want to be. I predict the future to be very sad, in which we are going to have a lot of men. I mean, it's already started. A lot of men having AI chatbots and have them as girlfriends or somebody they go to talk to when they're lonely or they're bored, right? Humans as a byproduct want to have connections with people. And then if you rid yourself of that by supplementing it with a robot, it's just a recipe for disaster, right? Robots gonna tell you everything you want to hear, but it might feel good, but in the long run, it's not good for you at all. Health wise, mental health wise, humans need to speak with humans. So I hope you guys take that seriously, because I do fear that is going to be the future for us. So go out there, start speaking to women, not in a relationship romantical sense, maybe if you want to, but use this as your starting point and just go out and start having conversations. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Later.